There comes a time in our life where we have to begin to stop excusing unexcusable behavior, and not just the behavior of others, but our behavior as well. Hi, I'm Stephanie Jeffries, and welcome to Sunday Gratefulness. On my journey of finding the courage to heal, I realized that I overcompensated in a lot of areas of my life. I gave people things that they didn't even ask me for. And then there was a time where I judged people based off their actions and judged myself based off of my intentions. And so what I began to do is I began making excuses for my behavior when I should not have. And there were people that I loved, that I adored, that I cared for, that I felt like no matter how bad they treated me, that they would learn, right? That they would just, it was just a phase, and that we would get better, and that I would become a priority and I would become important. But I was excusing unexcusable behavior. But when I began to go to therapy and I began to dig through it, I began to realize that that behavior of excusing unexcusable behavior started a long time ago. It actually started with my parents, right? My parents were not the most horrible people in the world. They were not the greatest, but they were not the most horrible people in the world. But when it comes to giving a child what they need to be okay, what they need to feel loved and cared for and protected, my parents did not do that. My mom was able to do that later in my life, but in the early developmental part of my life, my mom wasn't able to do that. But when I went to therapy, I realized that I make excuses for people because I made excuses for my mom. And I made excuses for why she wasn't there. I made excuses for why she did the things she did. I made excuses for how she missed the signs of my molestation. I made excuses for the abandonment, the abuse. And a lot of it I took on my shoulders. So that led to this life of overcompensation. There comes a point where we have to begin to stop excusing unexcusable behavior, because when people are doing things, because there have been times that I've done things hoping I didn't get caught, but I knew that if I got caught, I knew the repercussions of them. We have to stop excusing unexcusable behavior. That day of ride and die is over. You don't have to be loyal to a relationship, to a friendship, to a family member, and allow them to hurt you so they can talk about how strong you are and how you stood 10 toes down, ready for whatever. That time is over. What you should be looking for is setting healthy boundaries and having people in your life who treat you with dignity and respect the way that you treat them with dignity and respect, and people who love you and give you the same things that they require from you. Another thing that I realized when I was making excuses for people is that I was giving people things that they never asked me for. And so when you realize that you're giving someone something that they never asked you for, you realize that you're overcompensating because there's a part of your life, another part of your life that is lacking something. So as you begin to dig deep, I want you to figure out what that part of your life is. I want you to be able to look at excuses that you've made for people that have hurt you. I want you to kind of dig a little deep to see where that started. Did it start in your childhood? Did it start so that you can get acceptance? Did it start so that you could feel loved and cared for? Where did it start? And then how has it manifested yourself? How has it manifested itself in your life? And where are you now? And if it is something that you realize that is a problem, are you ready to address it? The time is now to address anything that we need to address. Life is short. And so what I want you to do, what I want you to take away from this is that don't excuse unexcusable behavior, your behavior or someone else's. And when someone tells you that you've hurt them, you do not have the right to tell them that you have not, because you're basing it off of your intent of your actions, and they're basing their pain off your actual actions. Have a great evening.